George, can we go straight into production numbers? Just how much has this disaster held back production at Boeing?
Well, I think that's something we don't know yet. We've all been trying to figure out. I think the market has largely not adjusted a lot of their delivery numbers yet, but after last week's report from Southwest, I think people will take their pencil to that. We're looking at cutting about 50 deliveries out of Boeing 737 deliveries for 2024, probably brings them from about a 500 level to a 450, could come down even a little more. I think some of the effect on the airlines, especially for summer travel season, will be a bit muted. And I think it's because you're getting your deliveries that you're going to use in the summer by March or April, as you get an airplane into your into your schedule. So this whole effect it's going to take a whole year to be felt. So it's not going to all be this summer. The U.S. still seems a little overcapacitized to us, especially for budget seats this summer, which Southwest is one of those major participants in the budget seat category, I'd say. So not sure we're going to see a big move in fares, but it'll firm them for the U.S.
So the good news, George, if I'm hearing you correctly, is we're not going to see a spike in prices off the heels of this, most likely in the United States, because this is going to be a long process. The bad news is maybe next summer we're going to feel the effects of this, and it's a sort of long simmering process as Boeing tries to work this out. Is that correct?
Yes. I mean, obviously we have to see how demand holds up for next summer, but yes, I think the bigger risk is absolutely out there.
So then there's this question of, do we even have a sense right now of whether Boeing is getting on it and actually getting a lot of the issues under control, given the fact that the DOJ seems to be concerned. Investigators have identified problem sites. They have not been able to find a report that they asked for. Where are we in this?
Yeah, I don't think we have a sense that Boeing has it under control yet. I'd say, the commentary coming out of Boeing, they provide no more guidance. So they're not in the process of trying to reassure the markets, and we're still deep into this investigation process. Like you said, DOJ is investigating. Boeing has 90 days to come back with a report to the FAA on how they're going to stabilize their production process. We know they're exploring a purchase of Spirit Aerosystems. Haven't heard anything more on that. That could do something to help quality. I think we're still in sort of the early days of figuring out what Boeing's game plan is going to be and what we think the effect is going to be on the company, on its production. So not much reassurance right now.
George, as you've told us repeatedly over the last few months, the order backlogs at Airbus, at Boeing, stretch years out. And what's less clear to me is how the likes of an Airbus can take advantage of the current situation. When you think about what's happening with Ryanair, United and Southwest, George, what options do those airlines actually have?
They don't have a lot, right? So the airlines that are flying, very single type fleets, all Boeing fleets like Ryanair, like Southwest, it would be a major move for them to take, to move from the 737 to the competitor, the Airbus A320. I'd probably take a decade for somebody to switch their fleet over. It changes their whole game plan, right? They're all built around low cost, very homogeneous fleet, pilots all rated on a single subtype or single types. So I just don't see that right now. I think it's got to get a lot worse. The ones you will see peel away are carriers like United that are flying dual fleets already. Carriers like American that are flying dual fleets already. To use two U.S. examples, those are the carriers I think Boeing has to be very careful about. They don't want to lose a lot of business with them, and they're starting to lose it in United because, again, the complications of adding another type to their fleet, it doesn't even add another type. They're already flying Airbus. It's easier for them to switch, and some of them are starting to do it.
George, competition concerns are always close by in this industry. That's not new. But it's going to be under the spotlight again, I would say, George, now with this. Given there are very few options, what does the regulator do going forward from here? And not just in the United States, I mean worldwide. How do they fix this?
Well, I think we're looking for the regulator to help, shine the light through, maybe is a way to say it, for Boeing, help them put their production, processes back in place. The regulator has to, I think, also be very careful because this is a U.S. defense contractor. It's very important to U.S. industry, U.S. aerospace, one of the biggest exporters in the country. So it's a very delicate balance they're doing here. But at the end of the day, I think safety has to take the highest priority, and the regulator has to go that way and make the calls based on safety. But they're really trying to help the company through the process more than trying to hurt the company, which is hard.
In the meantime, as we focus on safety and all that, are the Boeing planes currently going for a discount?
You know, there hasn't been a lot of sales. We looked at sales for February. It was a pretty weak month. I think if you stepped up to take an airplane from Boeing today and you were going to bring an order in size, you could probably get a decent price on it.
George Ferguson of Bloomberg Intelligence. You might not get the plane anytime soon, though. George, thank you, sir.